Hey guys, how are you? We are going to get into it. We are back. This is a case that's out of Detroit. I've been seeing it in my timeline. I didn't know who this guy was, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really know who he was until maybe like late last week. I guess of course the name kind of caught my attention like Michael Jackson. Um, but then it was the three-piece suits and look, if anything, that was very smart because, getting some public attention is not a bad thing, right? Welcome to Bougie Gang. Welcome, 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 welcome. Okay, so I made a few selections here. It's a little bit of chef's choice right now. What I did, I queued up a few things for us to watch. And it's in no particular, it is in a particular order. Let me tell the truth on that. Where's my order here? Okay. Uh Hold on. Let me take this out of the let me remove that. Okay. This is the order that I want to play. We're going to watch the hold on. Are they gonna do his interrogation? Hold on. I think they're gonna do his ex-boyfriend testified. Okay. Um, I think they're going to ask him about when he confessed to the murder. So this is actually part two. Unless you want to watch part one first, I guess they're establishing the relationship and all of the things. Um, okay, we might need to go back to part one. Hold on, let me see, because I'm getting this together. I didn't know we were gonna really do this until we were live, and this just got kind of a little bit interesting. So, okay, let's is this part one right here? Part three. Oh my god. My god. Okay. Any suggestions? You just finished part 1. Okay, did they run the testimony of him talking about that his confession testimony? Was that part of it? Let me just say real quick, welcome, 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 welcome 1, 2, 3, Bougie Gang, gang stars. Thank you so much for getting here first. Snoobalicious, what? Mons, Jackson Tabasco, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone who's here. Um it's so much. It's like YouTube is so much it's like information overload. I almost feel like at first I was like, well, let's just go ahead and just watch the complete closing arguments because that'll give us everything. But then I was like, well, maybe we should listen to his testimony. Um, oof, my God, it's so much. Um, Jackson Tabasco, where are you? All right, let me go back to day one. Day one. Okay, let me get you into this. Okay, Michael Jackson Balanos is a gentleman who is a admitted thief. He is from Detroit and was out and about on or about the night that a lady named Samantha Woll, who is a synagogue leader, so let's just say almost akin to a pastor. So she's a synagogue leader. I don't know that she was a rabbi. I'm not sure, but they said a synagogue leader. Okay. And ma'am was killed last year, and apparently her boyfriend called to 911 and confessed of the murder, and I guess he was in some sort of psychotic manic state, um, and recanted his admission, his confession. And here we are with Michael Jackson Banos, a man of color who is now standing trial, and Sir, who actually admitted to the crime but said, "Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I was in like a psychotic state," is free as a bird. So anyway, look, very complicated, right? Um, I don't even know what to say. It's pretty compelling. And then we've got Michael in the interrogation. Let me move. I'm switching around this order. Uh, okay. So here we are. We started watching. I'll give you guys a. I'm making a playlist of what we're watching. So however much we get through or whatever we skip over, let me save this. I'll make this into like a little playlist so we can keep up with it. But the closing arguments have already been done. Jackson Tabasco, did they talked about it in part 1 when he confessed? That's what I was asking. Okay. All right. Let me make this into a little playlist. Michael. Okay. All right, let's get into it. This is gonna be a while, guys. So I'm gonna give you guys the link to this playlist. So whatever we don't get to, um, but yeah, it's the judge for me. She seems quite bothered. The UnAlive. So we started watching. We were probably about 10-15 minutes in, and I skipped ahead, and we're getting to the night. He's talking about some medications he's on, and we're getting ready to get to the night. That he called 911, okay? And I'll share the playlist of what I threw in a queue, just some videos that I'm gonna watch on the matter as we're waiting for the verdict, see how this all pans out.
Okay, and then at what point in time did you start taking the Auvelity?
Um, it would have been sometime either, I'm not certain of the date, but late October or early November.
Okay, and have you ever taken that medication before that particular time?
No.
When you started taking the medication, did you have any side effects from that medication?
Initially, no.
Okay. And I want to ask you about a particular date, November 7th of 2023. Do you remember that date?
Yes.
And where were you on that specific day?
On that day, I was in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
And what brought you to Kalamazoo?
So typically, I work remotely from home. However, because of what had been going on in my life, my my supervisor had suggested that maybe it would be better if I was around people for a few days, and so he invited me to go and work on site at the Kalamazoo office.
And where did you work at that particular time? What was the employer?
A company called Stryker.
And what did you do for Stryker at that time?
So I was a data scientist. So I was working with data that would come off of hospital beds to try and prevent conditions like bed sores, to prevent falls from occurring in hospital conditions.
Okay. And where were you staying on November 7th when you were at Kalamazoo?
I was staying at a hotel, the Four Points Sheraton.
And when you were at the Sheraton on the night of November 7th, can you explain to the jury what happened that night?
Sure. So I finished work that day. I checked into the hotel. I took so at that point, that was the second day that I was instructed to double the dosage of Auvelity. So I increased from 1 pill to 2 pills. I went out to dinner, and then I came back to the hotel. I sat in my car. I smoked 4 hits off of a vape pen.
And when you say you smoked, what substance were you smoking?
Cannabis.
So would that be marijuana?
Yes.
Okay. And so after you smoked the cannabis, did something happen at that point?
No, not initially. I felt fine. I went inside. I bought a sparkling water and went to my hotel room and began listening to a podcast. I began to feel abnormal while listening to the podcast. My thoughts began racing. They soon became what I would describe as uncontrollable, that I couldn't stop worrying about things. Initially it was work related. I couldn't stop worrying about that I had brought the wrong clothes to work, that I wasn't going to make a good impression. I was worrying about having to meet with the director of the program, and then my thoughts began to focus around Sam's death, and
what specifically, what sort of direction did your thoughts go in at that point with regard to Sam's death?
I began to believe that I was.
Wait, hold on a second. I want to hear when he heard about her dying. So we're a little bit too far ahead. So maybe they were going to talk about that. Let me go back just a little bit.
Very, very minimally. I texted her when I brought her her things back to her apartment, and I texted her. She brought over a book and cupcakes for my birthday.
And when was that?
That was August 12th.
Okay.
And so I thanked her for that.
And when was the very last time that you saw Samantha alive?
That would have been on October 7th at the Simchat Torah service.
Okay, at the synagogue?
Yes.
Okay. And at some point, did you find out that something happened to Samantha?
Yes, I received an email from the synagogue.
And when did you receive that email?
On, I believe, October 22nd.
Okay, do you remember what time you received that email and found out?
sometime in the afternoon.
Okay, and what did you do in response to getting that email?
The first thing I did was I looked at the news to try to understand what had happened. I was devastated. I wanted to know what went on. I called my parents, and then I reached out, or I can't remember if I reached out to some friends, but their friends reached out to me. But I spoke with Ruby Robinson, Zach Rosen, um, about what had happened.
And are those two individuals, are those friends of yours?
Yes.
Okay. And did those individuals know Samantha?
Yes.
Now, was there a funeral service held for Samantha?
Yes.
And when was that funeral service held?
That was it the 23rd, I think? I'm not, it was the following day.
Okay. Do you remember what day of the week it was?
It would have been the Sunday.
The Sunday, okay. And did you attend the funeral service?
Yes.
And after the funeral service, did you have an opportunity to speak with some police officers with the Detroit Police Department?
Yes, I did.
And where did you speak with those officers?
At the DPSH downtown.
Okay. And did those officers ask to take something called a swab for DNA from you?
Yes, they did.
And did you allow them to take that swab?
I not only allowed it, I reminded them they were actually going to let me go and forgot to swab me. And so I said, hey, don't you need to swab me for DNA?
Okay. And did you bring your cell phone with you to that meeting with the police officers?
Yes, I did.
And did those officers ask for permission to forensically download the contents of your cell phone?
Yes, they did.
And did you give them your phone so that they could do that?
I did.
And did those officers also ask for your permission to look in your car?
Yes.
And what kind of car were you driving at that time?
A Volkswagen EOS.
Okay. And during sort of all the relevant time, is that the same car that you
Yes.
had? And did you allow the officers to look inside of your car?
Yes.
And search it? Okay. And did those officers ask you questions about your sort of whereabouts the night of Samantha's death?
Yes, they did.
And looking back at the night of October 20th of 2023, a Friday night, can you help us understand what were your activities that specific night?
So on that night, I went to the synagogue, and I stayed at the synagogue. We prayed. I stayed at the synagogue until around 8:00 p.m. and then I went directly home.
And what where is home for you without I guess giving us your specific address? What neighborhoods and what street do you live on?
Sure, Southwest Detroit. I live on Grand Boulevard.
Okay. And so you said you went from synagogue to home. Let me ask, is Friday night as a general matter, is that a significant night for in terms of like activities at the synagogue?
Yes, so typically we have services on Friday nights and Saturday mornings.
Okay. And do you observe the sort of religious custom generally known as Shabbat in terms of activities that you might take a rest from sundown on Friday until sundown on Saturday?
Yes, I try not to do work or labor during that time.
Are you do you take your observance to the level that you don't use any electronic devices during that time?
No.
Okay, and so do you still use things like phone, computer during that time?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And so when you got home on the night of October 20th of 2021, what did you do after you got home?
After I got home, I would have let my dog out. I lay down on the couch. I listened to a podcast. I put on some records, and I went to bed around 10 o'clock.
And during the course of that night, did you leave your home at all?
No.
Do you remember waking up at all during the course of that night?
I believe that I woke up at some point during the night. I'm a light sleeper.
Okay. But did you leave your home? Did you go anywhere else other than at home? Do you remember what you did the next morning?
Yes. The next morning, I woke up around 8 o'clock in the morning. I went to Eastern Market, picked up some groceries and some food. I drove back home, and then I got my yoga equipment, and I actually went to the credit union. I tried to go to the credit union, which was closed, and so instead I just drove straight to yoga and did yoga at 10:30 to 11:30.
Okay. And Mr. Herbson, can I ask, do you have a history of suffering from any sort of mental health issues?
Yes, I have depression.
And how long have you been dealing with depression?
It's tough to say. It's been a long time. I'd say at least 10 years, if not longer.
Okay. And during the course of time that you've been dealing with depression, have you been treated by a physician when it comes to your depression?
Yes,
Hold the phone a second. Did he found out about her death and then he went to yoga? He called his parents. And then what happened? He went to yoga class?
I've been treated by a number of psychologists and psychiatrists.
And at the time of Samantha's death, were you treated by anybody at around that time?
Yes.
Not just like, oh, she died, but oh, she was like murdered. And then you ironically confessed to killing her. This is weird.
And at around that time, let me ask you this. In general, have you ever taken any type of prescription medication for depression?
Yes, I've taken a number of prescription medications for depression.
Okay, and back in October of 2023, were you on any prescriptions at that time?
October of 2023, yes, I was on Trintellix and Rexulti.
And can you say that first one again?
Trintellix?
Trintellix?
Yes.
And could you spell that for the record?
Trintellix.
And how long have you been taking that particular medicine?
I've been taking that for years.
And was that something that was prescribed to you?
Yes.
Okay. And at around the time of October of 2023, were there any sort of changes in your prescription or the amount of, is it Trintellix that you were taking?
Yes, so I wasn't really getting any relief from the Trintellix, so my psychiatrist recommended that I try a new medication.
Okay, and what was the new medication that you were taking
So-
or that recommended to take?
A medication called Auvelity.
Auvelity?
Auvelity, Auvelity.
And so at around the period of October 21st of 2023, were you on one medication or both medications?
I believe I was only on the Trintellix at that time.
And is that something that you're able to just quit cold turkey, or did you have to kind of wean yourself off of that before changing medications?
No, there was a specific regimen that I was following to wean myself off of the Trintellix and to ramp up the Auvelity.
Okay, and then at what point in time did you start taking the Auvelity?
It would have been sometime either, I'm not certain of the date, but late October or early November.
Okay, and have you ever taken that medication before that particular time?
No,
When you started taking the medication, did you have any side effects from that medication?
initially no.
Okay, I want to ask you about a particular date, November 7th of 2023. Do you remember that date?
Yes.
And where were you on that specific day?
On that day, I was in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
And what brought you to Kalamazoo?
So typically, I work remotely from home. However, because of what had been going on in my life, my supervisor had suggested that maybe it would be better if I was around people for a few days, and so he invited me to go and work on site at the Kalamazoo office.
And where did you work at that particular time? What was the employer?
A company called Stryker.
And what did you do for Stryker at that time?
So I was a data scientist. So I was working with data that would come off of hospital beds to try and prevent conditions like bed sores, to prevent falls from occurring in hospital conditions.
Okay. And where were you staying on November 7th when you were at Kalamazoo?
I was staying at a hotel, the Four Points Sheraton.
And when you were at the Sheraton on the night of November 7th, can you explain to the jury what happened that night?
Sure. So I finished work that day. I checked into the hotel. I took so at that point, that was the second day that I was instructed to double the dosage of Auvelity. So I increased from 1 pill to 2 pills. And I went out to dinner, and then I came back to the hotel. I sat in my car. I smoked 4 hits off of a vape pen.
And when you say you smoked, what substance were you smoking?
Cannabis.
So would that be marijuana?
Yes.
Okay. And so after you smoked the cannabis, did something happen at that point?
No, not initially. I felt fine. I went inside. I bought a sparkling water and went to my hotel room and began listening to a podcast. I began to feel abnormal while listening to the podcast. My thoughts began racing. They soon became what I would describe as uncontrollable, that I couldn't stop worrying about things. Initially it was work related. I couldn't stop worrying about that I had brought the wrong clothes to work, that I wasn't going to make a good impression. I was worrying about having to meet with the director of the program, and then my thoughts began to focus around Sam's death, and
And what specifically, what sort of direction did your thoughts go in at that point in regard to Sam's death?
I began to believe that I was that I was responsible for her death, that I had somehow killed her and didn't remember doing it, and I couldn't shake that feeling, and it was disturbing to the extreme. I began to text. I texted a few friends. I texted an ER doctor friend about seeing a psychiatrist. I texted another friend with whom I had spoken about psychiatry treatment. I texted my psychologist saying that I was freaking out, and I came to the conclusion that that I was having a panic attack and needed to seek medical treatment.
And once you reached that conclusion, did you call the police? Did you call 911?
So actually, I took all of my stuff and recognized that that I didn't want my things in the hotel, and so I took all my stuff, put it in the car, went out to the car, and I called 911.
Okay, and after you called 911, did you have some interaction with the police?
Yes.
Now, the particular types of thoughts and sensations that you were having during this episode, had anything like that ever happened to you before, in terms of that type of episode?
No.
And do you have has anything like that happened since?
No.
The particular drug that you were on at that time, and again, remind me what the name of that was.
Auvelity.
Auvelity. Have you continued taking that drug since this episode happened?
No.
When did you stop taking Auvelity?
Immediately.
And have you had any issues like this since then?
No.
And before this happened on November 7th, did you ever feel like you were responsible for Samantha's death in
No.
any way? Are you responsible for Samantha's death in any way?
No.
Do you have any periods of blackouts or unaccounted for time in any way?
No.
Okay. And when you spoke with the police, did you say some things about feeling responsible for Samantha's death?
Yes.
And you understand that today that you're testifying under something called use immunity, is that correct?
That's correct.
And is your understanding that that means that for this time that you're sitting in the witness chair, that anything you say can't be used against you in a subsequent criminal proceeding?
Yes.
And you understand that to be entitled to use immunity, you have to be.
So the crazy thing, so they gave him use immunity. So basically, if let's just say, because right now the jury is out, the jury is deliberating, right? And Lambo is barking. Let's just say Michael Jackson Balanos is actually cleared, that there is reasonable doubt and he is acquitted of everything against him at this moment, right? Let's just say they don't have nobody. So they believe the state of Michigan believes so much that Bolanos did it versus this guy that you'd be willing to give him use immunity, or was he just not willing to cooperate until he was given some sort of immunity against what he is in this is crazy. And just keep in mind too, this whole story about his antidepressant medication, can we talk about the night that Samantha was killed? Maybe they're going to get to that. I don't know. Let's talk about the night. Where were you? What were you doing? How did he found out from the synagogue? They sent him a letter. They sent out an email. What were you doing? Where were you? Had you taught like all of that?
Truthful in your testimony?
Yes.
Have you been truthful in your testimony
Well,
today?
they can't even go after him. They gave him immunity. I mean, he doesn't have like there's another level of immunity, but he got use immunity. So basically, whatever he testifies to cannot be used against him in a future proceeding.
Yes.
Have you had an opportunity to review a recording of the 911 call that you made on November 7th?
Yes.
And when you reviewed that recording, did that recording appear to be a fair and accurate depiction or reflection of the actual call that you made back on November 7th in Kalamazoo?
Yes.
And I'm holding what's been marked as proposed exhibit 27. Is it your understanding that that recording is on this disc?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to admit proposed exhibit 27.
No objection.
Proposal 27 will be admitted and published.
I want to hear
Is
this.
it more than 15 minutes long?
No, Your Honor, the call is approximately 7 minutes, and so perhaps we could maybe break after that. The next portion would be the body worn camera video of what he said to the police, and that's going to be a little bit longer.
Okay,
That
that
makes
might be a
sense.
good, unless you have questions for him about that call, but.
I love a good exhibit. Okay.
And again, just for the record, publishing exhibit 27.
What's the location of your emergency? One Sheridan Kalamazoo reported their own religion. The Four Points Hotel on Eastport? Yeah. Okay. Is it a room number you're talking about? No, I'm in the parking lot. Okay. What's going on there? I'm having a full panic attack. I think I need to see a psychiatrist. Okay. How old are you, sir? I'm 21. Okay. Do you want me to send the ambulance up to you? Yes, please. I can't drive myself. You can't what? I can't drive right now. Okay, that's all right. Is your phone number 847? Yes, I'm right. Okay, hold on. I'm going to transfer to like ambulance, okay? Yeah, I'm on the way right now, so they're going to have some questions to ask you. It will slow them down. This is Norman, transferring 3600 East Court. 3600 East Court. Yes. Parking lot. All right, tell me exactly what happened. I'm having a panic attack. I think I may be in danger of others. Okay. Just a moment. Sir, listen to me. I have paramedics on the way, but I'm just going to ask you a couple other questions. How old are you? 21. Okay. And are you there alone? Okay. You're okay. I got help coming for you, okay? Good. Listen, we're on the way to help you. Is your breathing normal for you? Still on the line? Yeah, we are. We can take it from here if you'd like to. Put it in the middle. Maybe a minute. Okay. Listen, we have this coming. Are you by your vehicle? Okay, what kind of car are you in? Black. Okay, can you turn the four-way hazards on for us? Okay, good. Try to slow your breathing down. Try breathing into your nose and out through your mouth. It's slow and easy. Hold it in for a second and release it. Breathe into your nose, hold it, now blow it out. In through your nose and then blow it out. Alright. And then are you bleeding? Are you bleeding or vomiting blood? Okay, do you have any pain? Okay, listen to me. Try breathing in through your nose, then blow it out. Blow in through your nose, and blow it out. Nice and easy. Do you have any pain? Okay, good. Just try to slow that breathing down, okay? Have you tested positive for COVID in the last 14 days? No. Okay, good. Slow and easy breath. Remember, in through your nose, blow it out through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose, and then blow it out through your mouth. Oh, no. Okay. Stay on the line with me until the officers get there. Let me know when they find you, okay? They're coming to help you along with us. Okay. Sir? Sir, can you come back to the phone? Hello? Slow your breathing down. Hello? Is your phone, listen to me, is your phone number 847? We got an officer that's looking for you. Are you able to put your hazards on so we can find you? I don't think you can hear us anymore. You can put it down and then put us on speaker. Okay. I've got one you can mark down, see if you want to connect again. Okay, I will. Thanks. Bye. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah. Are you able to put your hazards on? My officer can. My hazards are on. Okay. Do you see a police car in the area? Yeah, they just pulled up. Perfect. They're there to speak with you, okay? I'm gonna let you up so they can talk with you, okay? You can see my hands. You can see my hands. They're not there to hurt you or anything, okay? You're not in trouble. I know I'm in trouble. No, you're not in trouble, okay? The officer's there to help you, okay? He's not a good guy.
Stopping the recording that's been given as Exhibit 27. Sir, when you made that call, where were you situated?
I was in my car
And where was your car situated?
in the parking lot of the Four Points Sheraton.
And Are you able to recall what was going through your head at the time that you made that call?
Sheer panic. I couldn't catch my breath. My heart was racing. I was terrified.
Okay, and after you found out about Samantha's death, can you say what, if any, impact her death had on your mental health?
It was not good. I was devastated. I would. There were days that I couldn't get out of bed. I wasn't sleeping well. I would also sleep in the afternoons. My sleeping schedule was all off. I took it very hard.
And when you spoke with the police back on that Sunday, right after the death, what was your frame of mind like at that time?
I just wanted to be as helpful as possible.
Was that an easy position to be in, to be questioned by the police right after your ex-girlfriend had been murdered?
It wasn't easy, but I didn't have anything to hide, so I wasn't worried.
And is this an easy position for you to be in, sitting here today testifying about this call and about the video that we're going to see tomorrow?
No, this was a very difficult time.
And Your Honor, with that, I guess I'll.
Good point to break.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll break for the day and we'll resume at 1 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll be here in the morning.
Girl. You know what? I know Michael Jackson Balanos. I know his lawyer was like, good. I'm glad they brought him up because that gives us something to work with. Okay. Like, this is actually not a bad thing that this guy came up. The fact that they are trying to pin it on Michael Jackson. Look, Michael Jackson was out with the foolishness. That's why he's sitting in the chair he's in. So let's not let that go by either. That doesn't mean that he's a murderer, though. This guy, though, actually, Dan was having a psychotic episode. I know that Karen type of victims cry. How can I get out of this? Girl. Okay. Pin it is right. You okay? I think it's just, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know enough yet, but I feel like my spidey sense is telling me it's also funny how, I mean, it really depends. So I was watching the testimony of the girlfriend. She said she washed his jacket. It was in the dirty clothes. Nothing else, nothing had blood. She didn't notice blood on anything. She had washed his jacket, but then I guess when they come to the house to get his clothes or procure evidence, they find a jacket with blood on it. How does the jacket have blood on it when it had been freshly washed? Other than someone maybe planting evidence? I don't know. That's weird. I don't know. I would love to hear the condition of the blood, or was it blood that was stained and they had to, forensically like cut the piece of fabric, wet it, you know, try to pull a sample from it, all of those things. I don't know. We missed a lot of this. This case has gone on for 4 weeks. I'm sure some of you guys I know have been watching this. This is interesting. I don't know. I feel like we just need to go. I guess we can watch part 2. I want to see the dash cam video. That's what I would like to see next. Um, the body worn camera. Is this part 2? Okay. Let's see the body worn camera. What the hell?
Okay. No weapons on you or open the door for me?
I answer anything on you right now? No. Okay. Do you mind if I check real quick?
So he's on some sort of antidepressants. He goes and he's on his step plan of, okay, you take this much for this period of time, and then you start taking the next dose, which is a double dose, right? And then he has the bright idea that he's going to take 4 hits off his vape, his marijuana vape, and he starts to trip.
Seconds.
That was dumb.
What were
One more time, I'm sorry. I see him. Is he him? He might be. He's been around a bit. Jeff, I sat him down too. He's got weapons. So I do in for a 28.
I want to get to the part where he gets questioned by the defense. Let's advance. If you want to watch this in its entirety, I'm going to drop you guys a playlist of these videos that I'm clicking on now, okay?
You role played this very situation. You would agree that you gave some.
without getting into anything privileged, what was your purpose for seeking out a lawyer at that time?
Yeah, a family friend had recommended that I speak with an attorney to help me navigate the situation, and so I reached out to Allison Krieger. I described to her what I had told the police, my involvement, and she said that I
Objection to whatever she said here. So.
Yeah, without getting into, I guess, what she said, in that initial sort of conversation you had, did you engage her services?
No.
And eventually, did you engage her services?
Yes.
And was that before or after the sort of video that we saw from November 7th?
That was after November 7th.
Okay. And if somebody said that your parents hired her for you, would that be accurate?
Yes.
And so your parents arranged for her to sort of represent you?
Yes. At that time, I was in detention, and so they made the arrangements. Yes.
Okay. And if somebody said that you confessed killing Samantha Woll to your parents, would that be accurate?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
If somebody said that you confessed to your parents that you killed Samantha Woll, would that be accurate?
No.
Did you have any discussions with your parents about what happened in Kalamazoo?
Only after that those events that night.
Okay, and what was your sort of state of mind by that point that you discussed things with your parents?
It was improving, but I was still I wasn't in great shape for several days after my panic attack.
Thank you, sir. Nothing further.
He's calling that a panic attack? That was a panic attack? That seemed like a complete psychotic episode. But I mean, okay.
Now you indicated that you were working for Stryker, correct?
Yes,
Okay, as a data scientist.
that's correct.
Okay. And as a data scientist, do you do a lot of analyzing of different numbers, different details?
Yes.
Would you describe yourself as a pragmatist?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. So you deal with things sensibly and realistically, correct? In a practical way, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, while you were in Kalamazoo, you indicated that you had smoked some marijuana, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Did you smoke a joint?
No.
You vape?
Yes.
Okay. Would you agree that that is more potent than maybe smoking a joint?
I couldn't say.
Okay. How often do you smoke marijuana?
Twice a week.
Twice a week? Okay. And when you smoke marijuana twice a week, you would agree that it increases your heart rate. Correct?
I couldn't say.
You couldn't say? Okay. Do you feel paranoia at times when you smoke marijuana?
In the past, I have, yes.
Okay. So this wouldn't have been the first time you felt paranoia, correct?
This was different.
But you felt some type of paranoia, correct? You would agree to that?
Yes.
Yes. And prior to you calling Kalamazoo Police Department, you started to analyze whether or not you had the right attire to be at work, correct? Yes.
Yes, my thoughts
Okay.
were around that, yes.
Okay, and you started to think about what you actually brought, correct?
Yes.
And you thought about what you could have brought, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you started to analyze and came to a conclusion in your mind that what you brought wasn't sufficient to what you could have brought, correct? You would agree to that, right?
You know, at that point,
Yes or no?
yes.
Okay. And you being the pragmatist that you are, you did it in the very practical way of breaking down the situation about your outfit, correct?
No, at that point, I was not being very practical.
Okay.
I was panicking.
Okay. But you gave some thought to it. You gave some substantial amount of time to thinking about whether or not you brought the right outfit, correct?
Yes, I was thinking
Okay.
about that.
And then you moved on to whether or not you would get along with your program director, right?
That was not my thought, no.
Did you indicate yesterday on direct that you started to worry about whether or not you would have an issue or get along with your program director? Didn't you say that?
Not that I would get along with my program director, that I was concerned about a meeting with that individual.
Okay, so you were concerned about a meeting with your program director.
Yes.
And in your mind, you started to play out what could be some possible outcomes of that particular meeting, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you thought you did it in a practical way.
No, I was panicking at that point.
Oh, you were panicking?
Yes.
But you would agree that you gave some substantial amount of time to thinking about what could happen in your meeting with your program director, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you went about various scenarios in your head of what could be the possible outcome of different conversations, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And after that, you started to think about what had happened on October 20th going into October 21st, correct? About what happened to Samantha Woll.
Yes.
Okay. And you started to play in your head the different scenarios of, or the scenario of what happened.
No.
You didn't?
No,
But you did call 911, correct?
That's correct.
So in your mind, you had to come to some conclusion before you called 911 of what happened. That'd be a fair statement, wouldn't it?
No.
So you just out the blue didn't think anything about it and just called 911. Is that what you're saying? Because you would agree, you made some very particular statements to 911, correct?
Yes.
And prior to you making those statements, you had to think about it before you said it, right? You would agree to that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's be clear. You, prior to 911 being called, you replayed in your mind the incident from October 20th to October 21st of the death of Samantha Woll. correct?
No. I did not replay anything in my mind.
You went over.
Again, I couldn't remember the situation, and so
Okay.
and that was my fear, was that I had nothing to replay. I
Okay.
had nothing to.
Okay, thank you. Now, you did indicate to the police that you were unhappy that she broke up with you. You heard that, correct?
I believe I said I was upset.
Okay, you were upset, correct? Okay, and you didn't tell the police that prior to that particular day, particularly, I mean, on October 22nd. You didn't tell them that you were upset, did you? Did you?
I don't recall using those words now.
Okay. Or you didn't say anything of the sort. You let the police believe that, oh, you were fine with the breakup. You didn't care about it at all. That's how you relayed your feelings to the police on October 22nd, 2023, isn't it?
I believe that's a misrepresentation of what I said.
You never said that you were mad, did you?
I never said I was mad.
You never said you were upset, did you?
I don't believe I said I was.
You didn't even say you were disappointed, did you?
I don't remember the words that I used, but I
Okay. So, have you had an opportunity to watch that interview prior to today?
Of October 22nd?
Yes.
No.
Okay. But you had an opportunity to watch and listen to your 911 call, right?
Yes.
And when you listened to that 911 call, you talked to your lawyer too, didn't you? About that. Your lawyer was present when you listened to that call, didn't you?
Yes.
And y'all went over scenarios on how you should testify, wasn't it? You role played this very situation, didn't you?
Yes.
And you were suggested to answer certain. No, look at me. You were suggested to answer certain questions a certain way, weren't you? Tell the truth.
We did prepare testimony, yes.
Okay. And you were getting suggestions on how you should answer certain questions, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So when the prosecutor asked you today what was going through your mind, that's not your feelings. You were told to say those particular answers, weren't you?
No.
Oh, you weren't told to say that? You weren't suggested to say the answer to those specific questions that he asked?
I was told to say the truth.
Oh, so that's the only thing you did in role player is say, oh, this might be the question. Tell the truth. That's what you're saying? That's not true, is it? Tell the truth now. You were told to
They didn't role play with him on this one. They didn't give him a role play on this attorney. Okay? He wasn't ready for this line of questioning.
say certain things to certain questions.
No.
Oh, you weren't giving suggestions. You just said you were giving suggestions on what to say. Are you walking that back now? Are you attempting to walk that back?
I wasn't told to say certain things. There were suggestions as to how I could respond to various questions.
Okay, and you used those very suggestions today, didn't you?
Yes.
And you also watched that body cam footage prior to today, correct?
Yes.
And you watched it with your lawyer. Correct?
Yes.
And you were given suggestions on how to answer questions relative to that video, weren't you?
Yes.
And you had extensive preparation prior to the day, didn't you?
I'm not sure what you mean by extensive.
You had more than one session, I'll say that. We
Yes.
start there. You had multiple different sessions, didn't you?
Yes.
There were, and in these sessions, it wasn't just watch the video and tell the truth. There were actually, this is how you should answer, and this is how you should not answer. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Now, when you were arrested eventually in Kalamazoo, you were taken to their detention center, correct?
I was taken to the police station.
Okay, the police center, police station, okay. And at the police station, you called your mother and your father, correct?
That's not entirely accurate.
Okay. The police called them and they would put them on speakerphone and you were at the table.
That's correct.
Okay. And you were instructed to not even talk to the police, right?
Yes.
So when you say that, oh, I was trying to be truthful and I tried to help the police, that's not entirely true, is it? Is it? Sir?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure if you were being honest with the police or not? And you were trying to be forthcoming with them?
I'm not certain how to answer that question.
Truthfully.
Truthfully?
Yes.
On the 22nd, I was truthful.
Okay. After that, after the 22nd, you weren't being truthful with the police or forthcoming, were you?
On November 7th.
Yes. November 7th, November 8th, you were not being truthful and forthcoming with the police, were you?
On November 7th, I was having a panic attack and delusions from medication.
Let's be clear. Let's be clear. When you were at the police station, I mean, I agree you were being truthful at the 911 call. I would agree to that. What I'm stating is once you were in the police station and after you were instructed to not talk to the police, you were not being forthcoming and truthful after that directive.
I think we need to start that question over again because I never said I agreed that I was being truthful.
How are you on the stand and you gonna tell the lawyer? I think we need to start that question over again. You don't get to call the shots. You're testifying. Excuse me? I would be like, excuse me? Your Honor, can you please direct the witness to answer my questions? We're not following. He's not setting protocol here. He's to answer questions and not to direct. Like, what the hell?
Okay. When you were in the police station, you remember this, correct?
Yes.
Okay. After you got a directive to not talk to the police, you remember that, right?
Yes.
Okay. After that time, you were not truthful or forthcoming.
Girl, you know what I think? I think he's playing. I think he's playing timid, nerd geek. Right now, he's gonna walk out this courtroom, go get himself a haircut, put some gel in it, take those glasses off glasses off, jump on a boat, get his vape, get his little medications and whatever he likes to drink on, and be in the wind. Okay. If you remember, he said that he broke up, that he couldn't give the the synagogue leader what she wanted, which I think maybe was marriage. He loved her, but he wasn't willing to go as far as she wanted it to go. He wanted to just play. I don't know if he had multiple girlfriends or whatever he wanted to do, but homie is not a nerd over here. Homie is sitting up here getting high, smoking weed, taking antidepressants. We don't know what else he does. Sir is not fooling me right here. He's playing timid, meek, you know, little bit, I had a panic attack. Come on now. I think he's playing.
with the police after that. You would agree to that?
Judge, I'm going to object based on the compound nature of the question. I think we should just separate it out. Truthful first, then forthcoming.
Okay. After that directive, you were no longer
The judge said,
forthcoming
okay.
with the police.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. And you were no longer truthful with the police.
I don't know that I could say that I was truthful. If I was not forthcoming, I didn't say anything to the police after that point.
I mean, you had conversations with them. You continued to talk. So you would agree that you had conversations with the police after that directive. You would agree with that, right?
Nothing substantive.
You would agree that you had conversations after that directive with the police, right?
Nothing substantive on the night.
Yes or no?
November 7th.
Judge, ask and answer. I don't know
He said
why
nothing.
you just keep asking the same question over and over.
He's not asking. He said,
Rephrase your question.
did you have any conversations, substantive or otherwise, in your opinion, substantive or otherwise, after that directive was made?
Yes, I believe there was an officer that I was sitting with who tried to talk me down after I was having
Okay.
a panic attack, that we discussed video games and music, and I believe I was truthful in those conversations.
Okay. On the 22nd, when asked if you engage in any other substances or drugs, you stated marijuana, right? On the 22nd of October, correct?
Yes,
And you stated that you didn't do any other drugs, didn't you?
that's correct.
Okay. Don't you take mushrooms?
Ooh,
I
ooh.
I have taken mushrooms in the
Okay.
past.
Wasn't a large jar found in your house when a search warrant was executed of mushrooms?
I think
And not shiitake, right? They were not portobellas. They were of the hallucinogenic variety. They were not cooking mushrooms, were they? It wasn't a big jar of portobellas.
it wasn't a large jar.
Wasn't. I guess you may not. Okay, it might be a difference of opinion, but a jar, nonetheless, it was a jar.
Yes,
Okay, and it had mushrooms inside of it, correct?
that's correct.
Okay. You never told the police you take mushrooms, did you?
I attempted to take mushrooms to relieve my depression. And
Question?
no,
Question?
I did not say that to the police.
Okay, thank you. Now you saying a lot of this delusion language. You were told to say that, weren't you?
No,
You were told to say you were having delusions, wasn't you?
no,
Oh, you weren't told to say that?
no.
Oh, are you a doctor?
Yes,
Are you a psychiatrist?
no,
Did you diagnose yourself with having delusions?
no. I have spoken with psychiatrists about my situation.
I'll have you. And they came to the conclusion that you were lying and this was a delusion, huh? That's what you're saying? That's not true, is it?
So he talked to his doctor, and his doctor said, "You didn't kill that girl. That was the weed. That was the shrooms. You didn't do that." There's somebody walking around Detroit right now ready for some trouble who's with fuckery, and they're going to find him. Don't worry about it. You did not do this. Oh my God. Is that what happened,
The
guys?
psychiatrist that I spoke with,
The psychiatrist you spoke with never gave you any type of clinical opinion that, based upon her expertise, you were lying when you made that 911 call and you were having a delusion. That never happened, did it? Yes or no?
Oh, he may be a doctor of data science, information systems, analytics, some sort of data scientist. He may have, I'm sure if he's a doctor, he's got a PhD. I think he's not a medical doctor. I'm sure he's a PhD of some sort of analytical science, something or the other.
Can I explain?
It's a simple yes or no. Did you ever get
I
a
think that
clinical
deserves an
opinion?
explanation.
Did you ever get a clinical opinion from your psychiatrist that, based upon her opinion, the 911 call was a delusion and it was not based in fact? Did you get that opinion? Yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, you got that opinion. Okay. And when did you get that opinion?
Afterwards, I don't have the exact date.
Oh, okay. Did she submit that to writing?
I have a written statement from a U of M trained psychiatrist that indicates that those conditions that we speak of on the 7th could easily be a delusion.
Could easily believe.
Yes.
Could easily be. There was no conclusion that, based upon their opinion, that they felt it was a delusion and that your statements on 911 were false. That was my question.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
You never had an opinion from any psychiatrist, any clinical therapist, or medical provider that their opinion was that you were lying when you made this 911 call or was not fact-based.
Judge, I'm just going to object to the characterization of lying. I think there's a difference between a lie, which is an intentional misrepresentation of fact, and something that isn't true, that might be mistakenly wrong. I think there's a big difference here. He's trying to characterize certain things as lies.
Rephrase your question.
Okay. To be clear, you have never received any type of opinion from a psychiatrist, therapist, medical provider that it was their opinion that the November the 7th phone call that you made to Kalamazoo was in fact not based in reality, but a delusion.
I've received from two separate psychiatrists information that indicates that those were delusions.
That was their opinion that those were delusions.
That's correct.
Okay. Would you happen to have those psychiatrists' information?
Yes.
Care to share?
You want my psychiatrist number?
They need to ask him, did you kill Samantha Woll? Jeffrey. They need to say, Jeffrey, when was the last time you really saw Samantha? Are you sure you didn't see her that night?
We're gonna take our morning break at this point, and we'll come back at 5 minutes to 11. Okay.
So while you were in the Kalamazoo police station, called your mother, or you had a conversation with your mother, correct?
With my father.
Okay. You don't remember your mother answering the call when the telephone was directed, the phone call was directed towards her?
I believe we tried to reach her, but my father picked up.
You don't remember telling your mother to contact that attorney that they have for you? You remember that?
Yes.
Okay, so you had a conversation with your mother, correct?
I don't remember who it was.
Look, let me tell you something. If Michael Jackson Balanos is the real killer, they have still given reasonable doubt. I mean, this guy has got it's reasonable doubt. And he may be the one who actually killed her, but it very well could not be Michael. And if Michael has a ironclad alibi, I don't know if there's ring cameras. I mean, just because he walked up on a body doesn't mean that they have him in the house. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I'm gonna just go even further to say, even if unless they have him there at the scene of the crime and he, I just think that this is some reasonable doubt right here because this guy was damn tripping on drugs and is having a truth telling moment calling damn 911 tripping outside of town, calling his parents, lawyering up. What the hell is his problem? And you've been out of a relationship with this girl for how long? And to top it off, they have testimony with another guy that she was actually had just recently met and was already intimate with. He seems like the type he'd be mad to find out that you're intimate with somebody else. Okay. I don't know, but let's let this play. This is gonna be a little minute. He's gonna have him on here for about another hour, but let's go ahead and listen. And we'll see how it goes. We might listen to opening statements. I can maybe like tomorrow morning put it on early and let it run and we can try and and listen to it as a group or maybe later or something like that if you want to. While I'm cooking dinner, I can just let it play. If you guys want to listen to it. But anyway, you guys let me know like the closing statements, but I think that's going to be like another 2.5 hours, but we'll see. Okay, I'm gonna put this back on and get myself on mute.
Was, but I remember asking them to contact my attorney.
Okay. And there was a question proposed to you. Are they holding you? Right? Remember that?
I don't recall.
You don't recall? Okay. If you were to hear this conversation, would it probably refresh your memory?
Girl, do they got the jail phone call? Play it, play it. Ooh, ooh, we love a good jail call. Oh, global telling strikes again.
I teach.
Let's go. Girl, they gonna have a global telling call. Baby. I mean, I feel sorry for the victim's family because there's nothing, you know what I'm saying? But there's nothing good out of coming from getting the wrong person. And I'm sorry if some random person on the street is rounded up and accused of killing someone I love, and then there's someone that we actually know, and these type of circumstances revolved around some weird shit. I would be more concerned about the person we know that's acting weird than the stranger I don't know who is calm and cool and collected who keeps saying, I didn't do it. Yeah, I was in the vicinity, but yeah, I didn't have nothing to do with that. Yeah, I might take a phone charger and look for some petty change and some things like that, but I wasn't out here trying to kill nobody or rob anybody's house or anything like that. That's weird. I don't think the family could feel good about hearing this. This is something disturbing. This guy, I think, has known the girl, Miss Samantha, for like 8 years. This can't be good hearing this. That he's having this psychotic attack. He's acting weird. He came to the funeral. Now he's calling and confessing to 911. I would not be okay with this guy, and I would be concerned.
Podium today. I think that people keep putting everything up on the podium
Okay.
at night, and then it's just causing more.
Now, if I could have you direct your attention to the screen behind you, do you recognize this individual?
Yeah.
Who is that? That's you? Okay. And would you agree that this would accurately depict the conversation you had while you were in Kalamazoo's police station on November the 8th, 2023?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hit the play button. Okay, there you go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me-
Did they get it back? Come on, y'all. Okay, here we go.
I think I have to exit out and go back in, Judge. Sorry.
And state where you're starting.
I'm starting at 2:16 and 38 seconds into the video. It's only playing through mine.
Hi, Mom. This is Jeff.
Hi, Jeff, and where are you?
I had a panic attack and ended up in the Kalamazoo police station.
Okay,
If you could please contact that attorney for me.
okay. We'll call her right now. Are they holding you?
Yeah.
Tell me how she already knew what they were talking about. It's like that guy who killed his girlfriend in Florida, the young couple that were kind of doing van life, and the young girl went she was 19 from Long Island, and the parents lived the boy's parents lived in Florida, and they knew that he killed the girl, and they basically covered up for him, and he went ahead and deleted himself. Yes, Gabby Petito and her boyfriend. Yes. Like, how in the world? Oh, hey mom, I'm in Kalamazoo. I'm at the police station. Are they holding you? What happened to what? What's going on? What are you over there for? What's going on? The laundries. Yes. What happened to the shock of it all? What happened to what are you doing there, son? Are you okay? you girl, I would have a million questions unless my questions were already answered. Why is it that mom doesn't know? Mom already knows what's going on and they already got somebody lined up. How in the world? If they did not put reasonable doubt out here on some damn Michael Jackson's name, I don't know what they did, but this is crazy because and then they gave him use immunity. Where is his alibi? I can't wait for them to get to the part when they ask him, "What were you doing the night that Samantha was killed? Where were you? When was the last time you saw her?" That's what I want to know.
Okay. Okay. We'll call the attorney. Are they sleeping overnight or what are they doing?
I don't know.
Do you need medical assistance right now?
I could use a psychiatrist, yes.
Well, then you need to tell them that.
I did.
They know he did something. They know something happened. They know something is wrong with him. I don't know, but they know more than nothing. Most of us parents, your kid calls you out the blue at the police station, you know nothing, right? And you're gonna learn as they're like, this is da mom, tell dad to come get me. But what? This is crazy.
And what did they say?
They haven't said anything.
Okay. Okay. Well, all right. Well, we have to wait till tomorrow morning before we can call the attorney.
Yeah, I understand.
What police station are you in Kalamazoo?
We're at Jackson.
The Kalamazoo Public Safety Headquarters.
Can you give me an idea where that is?
No, it's I don't know. I was driven here.
There's somebody there with you now?
Yes.
And Judge, I guess I'm gonna object to this point. I think we went beyond any impeachment or refreshing recollection or whatever. This is might have been.
So you would agree that you spoke to your mother,
Yes.
okay, and you told her to call the police. I mean, not police, but I'm sorry, attorney.
Yes.
Okay, and you would agree that your mother never asked, "What are you being arrested for?" Right? You'd agree to that, right?
Yes.
Your mother never asked, "What are you being detained for?" Right?
Yes.
Okay. Your mother already knew, right? Because you had a conversation with your mother prior to you calling the police, correct?
No.
Oh, you didn't? You went over to Chicago the week before this particular day. Isn't that true?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. And you saw your parents that weekend.
Yes.
Okay. And you stated earlier that the attorney you had was recommended by a friend of yours, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And then you also say that after the date of October 22nd, you never retained her services. Didn't you say that?
That's correct.
Okay. So when you say the attorney you got for me, at this point in time, she, according to your direct testimony, she wasn't even your attorney,
That's correct.
right? But you told them to get the attorney they had previously got for you or had got for you at this particular time, right?
I don't believe
You don't believe?
that that's what I said.
Okay. So you didn't tell your mother or father the weekend before to get in contact with your attorney?
The weekend before, no.
You didn't? You knew exactly what you were being arrested for and detained, didn't you?
I knew what I had said, and I knew that it was Yes, I knew that I had said some incriminating things, yes.
Okay, and you knew what you were being arrested for and detained for, right?
Yes.
Okay. And as a matter of fact,
Oh, you said some incriminating things. Do you mind repeating them right now, please? Can you say them in front of Samantha's family, please? Yeah, they wouldn't want me to be do it. Oh, you did. Okay. What exactly did you say? Because I have the report right here. What exactly did you say? Can you just say it out loud? What you said? And then when you recanted it, can you please go ahead and say that right now?
an officer asked you, like, hey, do you know what you're being detained for? And you said yes. You told him yes, right? So it was no surprise to you on why you were being arrested, right?
Yes. I was having delusions and
Okay. You didn't have a delusion when the officer asked you, do you know why you're being detained? You didn't have a delusion there, did you?
no.
You gave him a very lucid answer, correct? You would agree?
I'm not sure when this happened.
Okay. If you saw it, maybe could have possibly. Are you saying it did not happen?
I don't recall.
You don't recall? I can scroll to 3:07 in 20 seconds. For the record, I'm playing at 3:07 and 11 seconds.
No water? Oh, you got water.
Yeah.
You need a snack to use the bathroom or anything like that? You know what's going on with you right now? Huh?
I'm being detained, yeah.
You know what for?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as long as you know. Okay.
I'm sure you would agree that you seem pretty lucid in your answer. You would agree to that, right? You would agree with that?
I believe that I was having difficulty for several days afterwards.
Okay, you would agree that your answer was a lucid answer.
Yes.
Okay. You would agree that you didn't have any rapid breathing at this point in time, right?
That's correct.
You're not hyperventilating, correct?
No.
You're not crying or shaking, right? At this point, at this point in time, right? You'd agree with that?
If you want to play the tape back, I was crying and shaking prior to this.
I'm asking, when this question was proposed to you, you did not cry when you answered the question, right?
Yes.
Okay. You understood the question, correct?
Yes.
You never said or implied that you didn't understand what his question was, right?
No.
You didn't imply that you didn't understand why you were being detained, right?
No.
Because you had an opportunity to think about what his question was before you even answered it, right?
Yes.
And you had an opportunity to think about why you were being detained before he even asked you about it. You were thinking about that, weren't you?
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay. Prior to him even asking you, do you know why you're being detained? You were thinking about why you were sitting in a police station at that very time. You thought about it, didn't you?
So you're asking me, I had to predict that he was going to ask me that question?
I'm not asking that. I'm asking before he even walked into the room, you were sitting in your own mind thinking about how you landed into the police station. Correct?
I was trying to understand what had happened to me. When I was sitting in that room, I was trying to understand what had gone on to cause me this utterly abnormal behavior that I had never experienced before, had never experienced since,
Which
and I believe was caused by an adverse reaction to this medication.
now, when you say adverse behavior that you've never experienced, are you talking about the actions that happened on October the 20th? Those actions? Is that what you were thinking about?
No.
Oh, you wasn't thinking about that at all. That didn't cross your mind at all. You weren't replaying in your mind anything about October the 20th leading into the 21st at all. All that time you were sitting in that police station. Is that what you're saying? You didn't think about it at all?
Again, if you listen to that tape, I have zero recollection of anything that happened.
So you say.
Related to those events.
So you say. My question is, while you were sitting in that police station, were you thinking about what happened on October the 20th or 21st? Were you going through in your mind about anything about the 20th or the 21st?
No.
You weren't? You were thinking about losing your job, though, weren't you?
No, I was trying to understand what.
You were thinking about losing your job, right?
No.
You weren't? Okay. I'd like to go to 4:38 and 19 seconds. You heard yourself, right? You said you're going to lose your job. You're going to lose. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry. So you heard yourself say, I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose everything, right?
Yes.
So you were sitting there thinking about losing your job, right?
Yes.
Because you knew why you were there. Correct? You knew why you was there.
Yes.
And you knew what the consequences of your actions would be, didn't you?
I knew that sitting in a police station after.
Sir, did you know what the consequences of your actions would be? Yes or no?
Which actions?
Or what led you to sit in that seat and make that comment about losing your job?
I'm sorry, say that again.
You thought about the actions that led you to sit in that seat on video and make a statement that you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose everything. You knew what those consequences were, right?
Again, I was having an adverse reaction to the medication, and I was having panic attacks. You can see there that I'm not, in your words, lucid.
You seem pretty lucid to me. For you to form a conclusion in your mind that you're going to lose your job. You formed that conclusion, didn't you?
I was panicking, sir.
You formed that conclusion that you're going to lose your job, correct? Right? That you could potentially lose your job. You said that, right?
Yes, I did say that.
And you knew what you were being detained and arrested for, right?
Let me just say something. Why are you worried about losing your job when you're having a medical emergency? Like in his mind, he said, I'm having a panic attack. I'm having an adverse reaction to a medication. Why would you lose your job if you're having a true medical emergency and you work for a medical device company? You work for a company that is a medical device company. So it sounds like, right? How in the world Would you lose your job because you had a medical emergency and an interaction with the police? You would lose your job from the medical device company having a medical emergency as a result of you being involved in fuckery in your hometown that is making you have a psychotic episode or a damn nervous ass breakdown. You're going to lose your job because you're going to go to jail, not because you're having a medical emergency. Companies can't fire you for having a medical emergency. Companies can't fire you for having an interaction with the police. Companies will fire you because your ass is now arrested for murder. So they're going to put you on leave pending your outcome. And if your outcome is guilt, then and they might replace you if it's over a period of time. They'll put you on leave of absence and they're going to follow the guidelines. Stryker is a huge company. So that's why he was afraid he was going to lose his job, because he took Samantha out.
I knew what I had
Supposedly,
said,
allegedly.
yes.
You knew what you were being detained for, right? And arrested for, correct?
I knew what I had said.
And you knew that you made the connection in your mind that based upon what you said and done, it could lead or possibly in your mind, not even possibly, but in your mind, you're going to lose your job based upon
Judge,
your actions.
objection. I think this is the fifth time this has been asked and answered. We're just going around in circles here.
Now, when did you begin this new medication?
I believe I started it, so there's a period that I had to ramp down the previous medication, and I began to ramp up the Auvelity. I believe I took it for several days at the beginning of November, and had taken double the dosage on I began to double the dosage on the 6th
The 6th of what month?
November.
November.
I think he's trying to use this new medication as the alibi for his break with his memory and his break with um his ability to remember things. Like, I think he's using this medicine talk is part of his shenanigans. Mm-mm. I don't believe it.
Now, you spoke to police earlier on October the 22nd, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And at that point in time, you weren't showing any emotions, were you?
Bible lady, maybe your membership expired today. Click on the join button. It'll tell you, because I don't see the circle next to your name. So if you don't see your bougie emojis, that's where it is. But yeah, click on the join button. It'll tell you. Maybe it expired like literally, like it was today or whenever was the moment. But you can get it back, sis.
With the police, you weren't crying when you were talking about Samantha's death on October the 22nd, were you?
I did not cry during
Okay.
that
Okay.
interview.
Okay. You weren't showing any emotions, were you?
Judge, objection. It's a mischaracterization. I don't think he wants us to open the door to putting that whole video in 2 hours. We're getting close to that.
That'd be fine with me. You would agree.
What's worse, not crying or confessing that you killed her? I mean, I wouldn't be worried about a mischaracterization of not crying or not showing emotion surrounding my ex-girlfriend's death. more than I would be worried about thinking about people actually thinking I killed her. Okay? Like, let's come on. That's ridiculous.
That your reaction to you thinking you would lose your job was a lot more emotional than you were when you spoke to detectives on October the 22nd, the day after or the day you say that you heard she died.
You weren't there at the funeral.
That's my question. My question was,
Yeah, I was emotional at the funeral.
okay, and you were emotional when you were thinking about losing your job, right? You would agree to that?
Yes.
And you would agree that the emotion level that you displayed about thinking about losing your job was much greater than the emotion you displayed when you spoke to detectives on October the 22nd.
Again, I was going in and out of having panic attacks on November 7th, and I was having difficulty with my thoughts and emotions
Okay.
at that time.
So that would be a yes. You displayed a lot more emotions about losing your job than you did when speaking about Samantha. That'd be a yes, right?
When speaking about Samantha in the police station on October 22nd, yes.
Now,
If I were her family, I would be like, don't. If I were her family, her parents, the sister, whomever, I would be like, don't contact us ever again. Like you're dead to us. We don't want to know you. I don't give a like, you know what I mean? Like, no, sir. 8 years, 3 breakups, all the conversations, and you're more concerned about a damn job rather than this woman you've spent 8 years with in friendship and relationship, and you're sitting up here calling and confessing to the police. Sir, don't call us ever again. As a matter of fact, I want a temporary protective order. I don't want this guy near my house. Nothing. He's dangerous. I don't want him near us. This is ridiculous. After this guy testified, they should have let Michael go. I'm sorry.
That's correct.
Okay. And when Samantha broke up with you multiple times, I'm sure that didn't help your depression, right?
No, it was difficult.
It was difficult. It added to your depression, right?
I bet you he was real mad when he found out that Samantha had a boyfriend that she met at a conference not too long before she passed away and was already sleeping with the man. I bet you that made him feel real bad.
Sure.
And
Yes.
you weren't happy that she added to your depression. You weren't happy, were you?
I'm not sure how to answer that question.
Were you happy that
No,
she
I
added
was-
to your depression?
I was unhappy that she broke up with me.
And you blamed her for the breakup, right? Because it wasn't your decision, right?
I blame myself for the breakup. I
But
believe
you try to convince her that you guys should be together after you broke up, right?
that's correct.
And when you try to convince her, in your mind, it was her decision and she was the reason why you broke up, right?
I think those are two separate things. I think it was her decision, but I believe that I was the reason that we broke up.
Did you change anything?
I tried.
You tried. What did you try to change?
I tried to call her more. She wanted more physical touching, so I tried that. I brought her flowers. I apologized.
And she rejected all of that. Despite you doing all of those different actions, she still rejected you, didn't she?
I think rejected is a
She had met someone else.
strong word.
She didn't embrace you back into her arms and y'all live happy ever after. That didn't happen, did it?
We did get back together, but ultimately
She broke up with you again, correct?
yes.
Despite you stepping out of, in your mind, your comfort zone, doing things that made you uncomfortable.
He might be one of these like incel woman haters, you know, like low key. Because look, look, a 40-year-old white guy with a good job, advanced degree, he's making six figures. He's not bad looking. He purposefully came to court with no haircut, no shave, and his ugly glasses. I'm sure he's got some nicer glasses. This is a 6 plus. He probably makes 250, 300. This guy is a doctor. He's got a PhD. He's in tech. He's works for one of the biggest medical device companies. He makes dough. Okay? He came with no fucking haircut, no shave, no nothing. You kidding me? He's got to be a weirdo. He's 40 years old, no kids, no wife, no marriage, no intimacy. He's on antidepressants, smokes weed. The guy's got issues. The guy's got severe issues. He should be
Well,
he
she
should be
still
well into a whole
rejected you.
entire life right now. He really is a problem. Yeah, he
Yes.
hated her. He probably hates women, period.
Again, rejection, I believe is not the right word
Okay.
to use for
She
what happened.
she didn't take you back despite you doing all those different actions. She broke up with you again, correct?
Yes, and
Okay.
I understood.
Okay.
I wrote a text to that effect saying that I understood.
Okay. You weren't happy with her.
But you know what? I beg to differ. 8 years he wanted her. 8 years I think he didn't want anyone else to have her. Oh, look, white guys marry faster than black men do, okay? 8 years they belong to some sort of, more orthodox type of Jewish church or orthodox Jewish situation. 8 years she's a leader at her synagogue. And this guy is dragging her along for 8 years. The woman's 40 years old. He's 41, wasting her time. He didn't want anyone else to have her. She was a nice looking woman. He didn't want anyone else to have her.
Don't.
So he was wasting her time.
I was sad.
Okay.
No shave
Now,
November. That's
Did
funny.
you and Samantha ride bikes together?
No, I believe we never got the chance to ride bikes together
You never got the chance. And how long were you together for?
for a year.
For a year.
Oh, for a
You're
year?
an avid bike rider, aren't you?
I thought they said he knew her for 8 years.
Yes.
Okay. And
8 years
Samantha's
or
a
8
bike rider
year?
herself, right?
Yes.
And sometimes she rides bikes to Belle Isle, right?
That's correct.
Sometimes she rides bikes to Belle Isle with other guys, right?
Yes.
Okay. And not you, right?
Yes.
Okay. That didn't make you happy knowing that, did it?
To my knowledge, she rode her bike to Belle Isle with Paul.
Okay. Okay. Is that the only guy you knew about?
Yes.
Now, Samantha wasn't a person who would share emojis with you, did she?
I don't recall if she shared emojis with me.
You don't recall? You recall that question being asked of you by the police and you said no, right?
Okay.
No shave November. But it's July. This testimony was just 2 days ago, so he doesn't have any excuse for no shave.
And it was the truth when you said it, though, right? Because you were being honest, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know that her to share emojis with other guys, like hearts?
I knew that she shared hearts with her friend Laura.
Did you know about a guy named David Wilkinson?
No.
Did you know about a guy named Aaron Pergament?
No.
Okay. Did you know about a guy named Robert or Bob Becker?
No.
So you didn't know that she was intimate with these guys?
No.
Now, you would go over to Samantha's house from time to time, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, isn't it true that, to your knowledge, Samantha never fell asleep on her couch? Isn't that true?
That's false. I fell asleep on the couch with her.
So you're saying that you never told the police that you never fell asleep on the couch with her? Is that what you're saying? Sir, just be honest.
The honest truth is that we fell asleep on the couch together.
Y'all are funny in the chat. Samantha was 40 years old and single. All of y'all 40-year-olds who got friends. Okay. Samantha probably wanted to get married, and she was probably out here being friendly and meeting people and living her life so that she could meet the right one. There's nothing wrong with that. She wouldn't give you would okay, you like rightfully so. She didn't need to. This guy was weird. I don't like him at all. Anyway, okay, let's keep going.
Sorry, bear with me. I have to start this Gen Tech video player. For the record, I'm starting at 7:28 and leaves 26 seconds.
Tricky sometimes, but yeah, there wasn't not much of a bedtime ritual, no.
Like, would she fall asleep on the couch sometimes?
Not while we were together.
So you heard yourself, right?
I interpreted that question as would she fall asleep by herself on the couch?
You never followed up with a statement saying that, hey, we fell asleep together on the couch. You never said that. Did you?
You're right.
And you understood the question, right? You understood what she meant when she said, did she ever fall asleep on the couch? You know what that means, right? Ever. With or without you. You would agree that's what it means, right?
You got me.
I'm not trying to get you, I just want the truth. That's what I want.
The truth was that in that case, I believe that they were referring to her sleeping by herself on the couch.
Okay, but you never clarified what was going through your mind and said, hey, she never fell asleep alone, but we fell asleep together. You never said that.
You're right.
Thank you. Now, you have a Volkswagen EOS? EOS, okay. Is that equipped with GPS?
It has navigation, yes.
Navigation? Okay. Does it have any type of maybe emergency features, sort of like OnStar?
No, it doesn't have OnStar or anything like that.
Or something similar to OnStar, where you can push a button and speak to a live operator or emergency services?
No.
Okay. And as far as you know, was that GPS functional?
Yes, the navigation system works.
The navigation system works? Now, I guess you indicated that on Saturdays you try not to work or labor?
That's right.
Okay. But didn't you tell the police the Saturday of her death you went to Eastern Market, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Would you classify that as work?
No.
Oh, that's not work? Just going shopping?
I meant work for pay.
Oh, for pay. Labor. Wouldn't you classify labor as having to, the opposite of rest?
So, if you want to get into my theology,
No, I'm just asking you a certain question. I don't want to get to your theology. I'm just asking you a question.
Okay.
I think you should be allowed to answer the question. This,
I mean,
100% goes to his religious practices. I think you should be allowed.
and you also, after you left the Eastern Market, you stated that you then went to the credit union, right? Or attempted to go to the credit union.
I went home and then went to the credit.
Okay, you went home to put the food up.
That's right.
Okay. Then you attempted to go to the credit union, correct?
That's right.
Okay. And then you stated that you then went to yoga?
That's correct.
Okay. And you worked out there, correct, at yoga? Would you agree to that?
Yes, I practiced yoga.
Okay, you practice yoga. Now, you also stated that you went to the synagogue that Saturday when you allegedly stated that you first heard that Samantha had died, correct? You went to the synagogue, correct?
Yes, later that afternoon, yes.
Who was there? Who did you see?
Shira Heisler, Zach Rosen, the Robinsons, Noam Kimmelman, Jen Rusciano. Those are some of the names that come to mind first.
Okay. Now, the Friday that of the 20th, you stated that you were at home allegedly listening to a podcast?
After going to synagogue, yes.
Okay. And what device did you listen to this podcast on?
On my phone.
On your phone? Okay. You know approximately what time you listen to this podcast at?
Somewhere between 8 and 10, I believe.
8 and 10. Okay. So like a 2-hour podcast?
I think it was shorter than that.
Okay. And after the podcast went off, what, if anything, did you do?
I listened to a record.
A record?
Yeah.
Okay. And you can't remember what record you listened to, right?
It was, I don't remember the specific record, but it was one by JACKSON-BALANOS.
Do you typically turn off your location when you're at home?
No.
You don't? But, so you typically don't do it, but sometimes, have you ever turned off your location?
No.
Okay. Now let's go back to some of the statements that you made on your 911 call. You stated that you know you were in trouble. Remember that?
Yes.
Okay. And when you said that, you were referring to the death of Samantha, weren't you?
Yes, I convinced myself that I was involved with the death of Samantha.
Convinced yourself, okay. And you stated earlier, you're a pragmatist, right? You think in a very analytical, methodical, meticulous way, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And would it be fair to say that you're not a person who's easily persuaded?
Sure.
Okay. So when you say you convince yourself, that would take a lot of thinking about a situation in order to convince yourself that something happened. You'd agree to that, right?
Or it could be caused by a delusion that happened from the medication that I was taking.
You never mentioned this word at all to the police, delusion. You said you were having a panic attack. You never said this word delusion at all on the 911 phone call or while you were in Kalamazoo police station, right?
I believe that at some point I refer to myself as having a psychotic break. I'm not sure that I had the right language for what was going on with me.
So you agree that this word delusion was given to you to use in this particular setting?
Again, we agreed that I'm not that kind of doctor.
Okay.
And that an appropriate doctor has given me an appropriate language.
Okay. And your attorneys gave you that same word to use, correct?
No, my psychiatrist.
So you're saying your attorney never told you to use the word delusion while you're sitting in this chair? Be honest.
We discussed the language.
Okay. I thought so. Thank you. Okay, that's not a question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, the next statement you made was you felt that you were trying to outsmart people. You said that, didn't you?
I did say that, yes.
Okay. And prior to today, you were told to say what you allegedly meant by that. You were given a suggestion on how to answer that question, weren't you?
No.
That was never spoke about during your practice cross-examination or direct examination with your attorney?
No.
Okay. So every other aspect of that phone call was rehearsed except that very detail? Is that what you're saying?
A number of aspects were discussed, but I don't believe we discussed that aspect.
You don't believe? So your memory could be bad, right? Right? You could be mistaken, correct? Or just don't want to tell the truth. Correct?
Are you accusing me of not telling the truth?
I'm asking you a question. Is it possible?
No, it sounded like you were accusing me of not telling the truth.
Is it possible that you're mistaken, that you forgot that particular subject matter was discussed and rehearsed prior to you coming to testify today?
I don't believe we discussed that specifically.
So what you meant by that is you're trying to outsmart people is you knew you left your phone at home on the day of October the 21st. Or the 20th going to the 21st, correct?
I
Mm.
left my phone at home because I was at home.
Okay. When you made that statement, obviously you had some thought in your mind about you're trying to outsmart somebody, right? You didn't just make this statement without carefully analyzing and thinking about it before you said it, right? You meant something by it, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you were speaking in reference to Samantha Wall's murder, correct?
Yes.
And at no point in time did you ever make a statement that contradicted it. You never talked to the police after that and made a statement that says, I meant this by it, did you?
I'm not sure I understand.
After November the 8th, you never made you never had another written statement that you signed by the police indicating what you meant by that particular statement, right?
No,
Okay.
if I were to have to, if I were to make an additional statement, that would have not been true.
If you would have made an additional statement other than what you said, it wouldn't have been the truth, right?
No, that's not what I said. If
Is that what you said?
any additional statement would have not been the truth. I told the truth.
Okay,
in
but
the initial statement that I gave the police.
But you made another statement on 911, right? That's a statement. Came out of your mouth, right? It came out of your mouth, correct?
Again,
Sir, did it come out of your mouth?
It did come out of my mouth.
Okay, so you would agree that it's a statement, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But not the truth.
So is that the only time you've ever, in your mind, not told the truth? Is when you allegedly made this up about what happened to Samantha? That the only time you didn't tell the truth? In your life? Or recently?
That's pretty good.
Okay, I'll be more specific. Would you consider yourself an honest person?
Yes.
Okay. Do you always just make things up that didn't happen?
No.
Okay. So you're saying that this is the only time that you could remember that you made up something?
This is the only time that I was having an adverse reaction to a medication.
Okay. So did that medication make you visualize something in your mind that happened?
No, again, as I said on the tape, I couldn't remember anything related to the events.
Are you familiar with repressed memories?
I've heard the term. I'm not familiar. I wouldn't say I'm familiar with them.
You've heard the term. That wasn't discussed before. You never discussed like possibly having a repressed memory, like your mind forgot about certain key details, or at least try to forget about certain details of a traumatic event. You never sought that out. You didn't try to get to the truth of the matter and say, okay, maybe I had a traumatic, maybe I had a repression of a traumatic event. You never tried to figure out if that was the case in this particular situation?
As far as I know, that's.
As far as you know what?
No, I never tried to look into whether it was a repressed memory. No.
Oh, it was just more convenient for you, of course, to take it's a delusion road versus trying to get down to truth of the matter to see, in fact, was this a repressed memory of an act that actually happened?
Judge, I'm going to object to this on multiple bases. Number one, it's argumentative. Number two, I don't think there's any scientific basis for this concept of repressed memories that's offered on the record by an expert that can opine on this issue.
Judge, maybe approach.
We're almost done with Jeffrey's testimony. Jeffrey's toast over here. This is what I wonder. Why did they bring him up? I feel like they had to, because obviously he was arrested for the murder. He is sussy as I don't know what. And but when the state questioned him, they really softballed it for like about what, 30 minutes. Brian Brown is getting in his ass. And of course, he has a client to protect, Mr. Brown. But Brian Brown is getting all in his ass. But it's good because he needs to do that, because he needs to give the jury something to think about as they're thinking about, like, well, why did Michael Jackson Balanos? Well, he was over there breaking into a car. Why would he kill the nice young lady who was at her house minding her business, not outside, right? So who would have had more access to her? This dude would, because he's her friend. He's her whatever. He's her ex-boyfriend. All those things, right? So I don't know. It definitely, this guy is, I think this guy's full of shit. I'm just gonna say it. Like, I guess I've already said it before, but I don't he definitely, if I were sitting there, I would be like, and why is this other guy sitting on the other side? I think another thing I thought about why he was going to lose his job is because he may have taken some, well, weed is legal though, right? In Michigan. Or I don't know if mushrooms, psychotropic or psychedelics, whatever they call them. Girl, I don't know. He needs to leave those drugs alone. Drugs aren't for everybody.
Ms. Krieger, can you approach for a moment, please?
Yeah, he has use immunity. Did you see sis who made space buns into a professional hairdo for the day? She looks so cute, didn't she? I'm like, okay, sis, with the space buns.
Now, you stated that you undertook transcranial magnetic stimulation.
That's correct.
Do you know of whether or not that has any effect on your memory as far as a side effect potentially?
I don't know.
You don't know that? Were any of the side effects discussed with you?
Yes,
Okay. And you just don't remember if that was one of them, correct?
that's correct.
You also stated on the 911 call that no one was arrested for the death of Samantha Woll at that particular time, to your understanding, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Were you keeping up with the case?
Yes,
Okay. And how were you keeping up with the case?
through the news.
Through the news? You also made a statement on the 911 call, what have I done? Remember that?
Yes,
And prior to you making that statement, you replayed October 20th to the 21st before making that statement, correct?
no,
Oh, I'm sorry. Now, this knife that was in your car, you indicated that this was a seatbelt cutter?
it had a slot that had for cutting seatbelts. Yes,
Okay. And that's one of the reasons why you had it. So you say, correct?
yes, and it also had an end to break glass. Yes,
And approximately how long did you have this knife for?
years. I believe I looked back and I have a receipt from 2015 for the knife.
Okay. Now, were you provided any additional cell phone as part of your employment with Stryker?
No,
Okay. Did you have any Google Voice or anything? An alternate number?
I do have a Google Voice number. Yes.
Oh, okay. Did you let the authorities know about that Google Voice number?
No.
And why do you use this Google Voice?
Because it transcribes messages for me and sends them to my email.
Okay.
So if somebody leaves a voice message, I get an email about it.
Okay, so you receive phone calls on this Google Voice.
I receive phone calls through my phone, and it worked to transcribe those phone calls
Okay.
and send them to my email.
In Google Voice, you can also use it to send text messages, correct?
If that's the case, I've never done that.
After the death of Samantha, you had a bonfire at your house, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And the theme was Kumbaya.
I don't think there was a theme.
Was that thing? You didn't call it Kumbaya?
No.
And where was this bonfire at in relation to? Was it in the backyard?
Yes.
Do you have a fire pit?
Yes.
Okay. Is this a store-bought fire pit, or is it did you make it out of rocks?
It's a store-bought fire.
Store-bought fire pit. Do you always keep this fire pit outside when it's not in use?
Yes.
Now, you invited some other people, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that before your guest arrived, you already had the fire started?
No.
Did you start the fire yourself?
I believe a friend, Jenya Guzman, started the fire while I was still preparing. Her last name is Gazman. And
Just for that,
First name EVG ENIYA, I believe.
In relation to the, I might be mispronouncing it, Avalde, is that the name of the prescription?
Avalde.
Avalde, okay. You stated that you didn't have any side effects initially, correct?
That's correct.
So you went from having no side effects to what you described as something that clouded your memory of what happened.
I believe that's not how I described the side effects at all, no.
Okay. But you did testify on direct that allegedly you did not commit the murder and you convinced yourself, correct? That's what you stated, right?
That's right.
Okay. And you stated the reason why you felt you convinced yourself was because of a side effect from this prescription, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So just to be clear, you went from having no side effects to this medication the side effect convincing yourself of doing a murder.
Yes, so
Okay.
so
Okay,
the
thank you.
previous day
Thank you.
okay.
And prior to the police coming, you told them that in fact you took all of your, this is on November the 8th, just to be clear, in Kalamazoo, you were staying at the 4 Points Sheraton, correct?
Yes,
And prior to the police coming, you took all of your stuff out of the hotel, correct?
that's correct.
Because you knew you were about to go to jail, correct?
I knew that
You knew you were about to go to jail, correct?
I thought that I would go to the hospital.
You thought you would go to the hospital.
Yes.
Okay. You were cognitive enough to have the state of mind prior to calling 911 to go into the hotel room and remove all of your items, correct?
I was already in the hotel room.
Okay. You had the state of mind, presence of mind, prior to calling 911 to remove all of your items from the hotel, correct?
Yes.
And not only remove the items from the hotel, to take them to your automobile, correct?
That's correct.
Your panic attack didn't prohibit you from having that state of mind to remove your items from the hotel,
That's
correct?
correct.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think we're actually at
Okay.
So we'll come back at 1:30. We've got several minutes. So, see what 1:30.
Skipping ahead to 32 minutes and 30 seconds into the video. And again, these two people.
Okay, guys, this was the next thing I had up. Maybe I don't know if you guys want to watch Michael Jackson-Balanos testimony. I don't know if I'm up for it right now. I've already watched some of it. This, I think, is the police officer right here. Defense calls officer to the stand of Samantha Woll's alleged. Here's Michael here. Jury deliberations begin Wednesday. Officer. Okay, another. I'd almost rather listen to this in the morning. Is this FBI digital forensic examiner Jeff's advice? I wonder what he had to say.
Prosecutors at the Samantha Woll murder trial take the jury inside the interrogation room.
I just want to get this over with, bro, and prove my innocence, bro. Like, I didn't do nothing, bro.
Tonight, we're hearing what Michael Jackson-Balanos said to investigators just hours after his arrest.
We are now into the fourth week of the trial, with the prosecution still presenting evidence.
And today, the focus moved to what happened after Michael Jackson-Balanos was arrested in connection with this case. So let's get out to Will Jones. Will, he sounded like he was adamant the entire time.
And Kimberly and Devin, Michael Jackson-Balanos' frustration grew throughout the questioning by detectives, even at one point threatening to sue a detective for defamation of character. But detectives maintain that the evidence was on their side.
When Detroit police detectives interrogated Michael Jackson-Balanos last year, he repeatedly denied any involvement in a murder.
I'm not lying about no murders or nothing, bro. I ain't do nothing.
Samantha Woll was found stabbed to death outside her Lafayette Park condo last October. Jackson-Balanos was arrested a month later. He's now on trial for first-degree murder, home invasion, and lying to a peace officer in connection to Woll's death.
I never went in nobody's house, bro. Why do you keep trying to make me think that I went to somebody's house? I never went to somebody's. No, I told you, your phone was in her condo.
A second time Jackson-Balanos was interrogated, he once again reiterated his innocence.
I don't know this woman. I don't know anything about the woman except for when it popped up in the news, bro. That's it. Then the only thing I know that I was in the wrong area at the wrong time.
We also heard from Tierra White, who Jackson-Balanos began dating last September. She spoke to Jackson-Balanos' demeanor and appearance the night that Woll was killed.
When Mr. Jackson-Balanos came home, did he appear to you to be covered in blood?
Not at all.
Did he appear to you to look as if he had just gotten into some argument with someone or anything? Did anything appear different about him?
Not at all.
Jackson-Balanos described himself as homeless, and he said he had just been walking around the night that Woll was murdered. Again, he emphasized his innocence and that he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. We're live downtown. Will Jones, Local 4.
Another day of captivating testimony. Okay, Will, we appreciate it.
So he was like staying with that girl. He wasn't living with her, but I guess he would stay over there enough. But she was doing his laundry. Girl, yeah, unless you're just on that type of time. Let me look at the queue. Hold on. Hold on one second, guys. I'm trying to find his testimony, which I know I have it. I don't know if they have it broken up by day. Mm. Oh, okay, I see. Let's see what part 1 is. Oh, it might be a little bit out of order. 4 weeks, guys. It's like 82 videos. Is this part 1 right here? We'll just start it off, but I mean, we're not going to do this. I mean, it's hours of testimony. But they have him on they caught him on the streets. I guess that's the good thing about 2024. Everybody's got cameras, which is a good thing.
Michael.
It may
Will
feel a little
Jackson
weird, but it's
Balanos,
actually a good thing.
Bolanos.
You may proceed.
I'm sorry, my thumb drive.
You know what? But lies do have a way of the truth always comes out. It may take a long time, but the truth comes out. So one way or the other, the truth is coming. Lies are just not sustainable because all you need is one person to tell the truth and all of the lies, and then it's like, but that doesn't make sense, right? Something is going to pop out. If everyone's lying and one person's telling the truth, eventually it just all breaks down.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jackson-Balanos.
Good afternoon.
I'm gonna ask you a series of questions and just be honest. Now, Mr. Jackson-Balanos, do you remember the night of October 21, 2023?
Yes.
Okay. Briefly explain how did that night start?
I was at Tierra White's house.
Okay, and who is Tierra White?
My girlfriend.
Okay. At some point in time, did you leave the house?
Yes.
Okay. How did you leave the house?
I left on foot, walking.
Okay. What did you take with you?
Besides myself, my phone, a lighter, and a flashlight.
Okay. Did you take any weapons with you?
No.
Okay. Did you take a knife?
No.
Okay. So why did you leave the house?
Well, I had told her I was going for a walk, but I was actually going to go look at cars.
Okay. And what was your purpose to go look at cars?
To locate them and see if they were accessible.
Okay. And when you say accessible, what does that mean?
Meaning like if it was unlocked, I was going to check through the car.
Okay. Any specific cars that you were looking for?
Mostly Dodges, Chargers, and Challengers.
Okay. Did you have any plans on actually stealing any cars that night?
No, not that night.
Okay. If you remember, where did you go first?
I walked out of her house and I turned on Cash Street and sat down in front of a pole.
Okay. And what were you doing while you sat down on the?
I was talking on my phone.
Okay. Approximately how long?
I don't know how long.
Okay. Where did you go afterwards?
I wandered off down Woodward, headed towards downtown.
Okay. Did you have any particular destination in mind?
No set destination, just the downtown area.
Okay. Did you have a particular area such as apartment structures, parking lots that you were seeking to go to?
No, just the downtown area.
Okay. Did you go to any apartment complexes?
Yes.
Okay. When you went to these apartment complexes, what did you do?
I checked out a few cars to see if they were unlocked.
Okay. Were some of the door handles unlocked?
Yes.
Okay. What did you do when the door handles were unlocked?
Like I stated, I would search through the vehicles to see whatever I could find.
Okay. Were you looking for anything in particular?
Just whatever that I found.
Okay. Did you find anything?
I found the bag on Lafayette when I was coming down Rivard.
Okay. Was there anything in the bag?
No, just like crumbled up papers, some corded headphones, some gloves, and a chapstick.
Okay. What type of gloves?
I believe surgical.
Okay. Were there any weapons in the bag?
No.
Okay. Was there a knife in the bag?
No.
Okay. Did you ever put any gloves on? Or those gloves on?
Yes.
And
after I found them in the bag, I took them out. I blew up one, made a hand balloon, and like I put the other two on.
Okay. Is there any particular reason why you put the gloves on?
Well, when I figured I was out for cars and was more than just taking pictures, I was going to eventually touch the door handles, and I didn't want to leave any like fingerprints on the door handles.
Okay. what did you end up doing with the backpack at that time?
I stashed it in the walkway apparent to the street of Lafayette and some bushes.
Okay. Is there any reason why you did that?
Down the walkway, I seen that there were cars in a parking lot, and I wanted the cars.
Okay. And what type of cars are you referring to?
Just a sort of cars.
Okay.
I couldn't really specifically see.
Were there other things, if anything, that you actually took?
No, when I got to Jefferson, I had went in a car and there was a plastic bag with like candy in it.
Okay. And was there a knife in that bag?
No.
Okay. Did you immediately walk off with that bag?
No, I didn't.
Okay. And you stated that there was candy in the bag?
Yeah, I found the candy, but I had dropped the bag when I had heard people approaching.
Okay. I'm going to, and do you remember approximately where you got that bag from?
A car near the River Place apartments, like in the front on the street.
Okay. I'm going to show you People's exhibit number, I believe it's 78, which is a compilation, and ask you some questions in reference to this exhibit.
You can put it down on the table over there down the way.
Okay, I just had it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to publish People's Exhibit 78 at 46 minutes and 51 seconds. Mr. Jackson-Balanos, is this you on this particular camera?
Yes.
Okay, and what, if anything, are you doing at this particular time? I'll start playing.
I was walking away because I heard those people.
Okay. Is this still you at the top of the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if we pause, were you noticing anything at this particular time on the video?
Just that I was about to go around the building to like duck off for a minute until the people left.
Okay. Are those the people who are depicted at the top of the screen?
Yeah, it was like 3 of them.
Okay, I'll continue to play. If we pause, in your hand, it looks like you have something, I guess, illuminated. Do you have a glove on at this time?
Yes, I had on 2 gloves.
Okay. And are these the gloves that you retrieved from the backpack that you found earlier? Okay. I'll continue to play at 4:35, which is the same moment I paused that. Now, what are you doing at this point in time?
I was just like hiding, like, just trying to keep clear.
And why were you hiding?
Because I didn't want to be caught breaking into those cars.
Okay.
Just avoiding confrontation, really.
Okay.
It's crazy how he's over here creeping around like he doesn't want anyone to see him, but it's like you not only are people seeing you, but like fast forward, you know, you're getting to see all of this and you're on the stand accused of a murder. This is terrible, right? Um anyway, guys, we're almost at 3 hours. I put the playlist of just 6 videos that I made a playlist. It's in the description box. This playlist from the news channel, they have a whole playlist put together. I'm going to share it with you guys. Hold on a second. Right here, I'm going to share it with you guys so you guys can get into it if you want to get like all the way caught up. We can do some more tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow there'll be a verdict. We don't know, but it's quite possible, right? Um okay, let me get the link. This was fun and interesting. We'll talk more about it. I'm gonna watch his police interrogation. But I gotta get started cooking dinner and stuff like that and handle, check back into my life. The jury is off tomorrow. So if they don't come back with something tonight, which it's already late, is it 6 or is it 5 in Detroit? Then maybe we won't know anything until Monday. So we got plenty of time to get caught up. If they're what's tomorrow? Thursday. Okay, so they're off tomorrow. Are they off on Friday? So the jury's off tomorrow. What about Friday? A snack and a meal. We got some time. If this ends up going over the weekend, then we have time to get caught up. But either way, we can get caught up back on Friday. Well, they might do something before the weekend. They don't want to have to come back on Monday. All right, guys. Well, I just dropped to you the playlist of the news channel, the playlist that I created with the police interrogation video and the closing statements is in the description box. So thank you, Lady Yvette. Miss HLS, I'm sorry. I was getting up. I don't know. I had my phone in my hand. Somehow I took Miss HLS out, but 504 came through and saved the day and got her back in. So my bad, y'all. Even I, chief moderator, mess up. Okay. So I don't even know how I did it, but however I did it, not paying attention, my bad, sis. Anyway, you guys have a good afternoon. You enjoyed the watch party. We'll get back into it. But you guys have both playlists, so get into it and we'll talk about it. They're off tomorrow, so we don't expect a verdict tomorrow, maybe Friday. So we can do a little bit more tomorrow. Hear a little bit more of Mr. Michael Jackson-Balanos. Testimony, and then maybe we'll have a verdict soon. That's interesting. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna let y'all go. We were live earlier, so if you missed that, go check into it. And I guess that's it. If anything else pops up, I'll be back. Bible lady, thank you so much for renewing, boo. I appreciate you. Okay, guys, you guys take care. Hit the like button for me. I appreciate it. If you're back here on the replay, welcome, welcome, welcome. And make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the like for me. Okay. You guys take care. Thank you. Bye, guys.